Today is November the 7th, 2019. My name is Leanne Gillum, and I am Aaron's wife. I have with me his mother, Sarah Ann Cheney Durain, and she will confirm that in a moment. We plan to discuss Aaron's Risperdal use, side effects, and how we know that it has affected him, and hopefully she can help us establish some things. What is your full name?
Sarah Ann Cheney Durain.
And what was your birthday?
5/14/62.
And we're talking about Aaron, so give me his full name and birthday, please.
Aaron Jory Gillum. His name was Budenberger at the time.
That's his birthday was
10/29/1984.
Okay. I guess we should talk about Risperdal because that's what we believe has caused a lot of his issues.
Yeah.
Even the gynecomastia surgery, tardive dyskinesia, bullying. It was an extensive situation, but I understand Aaron started having some behaviors, and they tried other medications, some antidepressants and what have you, but Risperdal was given to him at a crisis type situation, wasn't it? Can you tell me a little about him being hospitalized and then putting him on Risperdal initially, how old he was and what you kind of think?
He was 9 or almost just turned 10, and he had been on Prozac, which he started seeing and hearing things. They thought that he was
Schizophrenic?
Yes, schizophrenic. So they took him off the Prozac and put him on Risperdal.
Yes.
And while he was on Risperdal, he had mannerisms. He'd do hand flapping, and he would do like this with his fingers. He would drool. His eyes would be half-masked. He would kind of bend over when he would walk. He would shuffle, and he would drool. And it was troubling to see him like that. Plus, he was also made fun of in school. Plus, he was also isolated from the rest of the class.
Is that the year that he had to have a bed in the classroom and that he just kind of slept? He told me some about that, but I don't know when.
I do believe that was around the same time. They kept him isolated.
He said it was 4th grade, so I thought, okay. Now, we mentioned he did do a few other meds, but to be correct, the tardive dyskinesia, as in the drooling, the hand flapping, the repetitive movements, the such as that, it only started with the Risperdal. Is that what you noticed?
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
Okay.
It got pretty bad.
Okay. How long did he have the gynecomastia issue before he had surgery? What was the process of that, if you can tell me?
Well, he had a little lump. No one really thought anything of it, but it kept getting bigger and bigger and caused a problem. And for a while there, the doctors thought he might have cancer. So they did a surgery where they took the lump out, and they found out that it was gynecomastia, that he didn't have any cancerous cells in there. And that happened when he was 15.
Now, we don't have any pictures of him before surgery that I'm aware of that show. Do you remember, he said it was a pretty good size mass, but do you remember the size in any way?
I do not remember the size of it, but it was noticeable.
Yes. Yeah, he said he had a breast on one side and had, he was even made fun of about that and had to have it removed. But was it his self-consciousness removing it, or was it an actual concern from the doctor? It was to the point.
Both.
Both. Okay, very good. I'm sorry, I'm going to take a moment just because I want to be sure to ask you what they may need. When you're seeing all these symptoms in Aaron, side effects, I should say, did the doctors ever give you guidance about what you were seeing? Did they show concern?
No.
And I must say, am I correct that the state was really pushing you to make him take these medications, irregardless of his side effects?
Yeah.
Will you share with me how you found out to take him, well, not necessarily take him off of it, but how you found out what was causing the behavior?
I was at a funeral for my aunt, and a cousin was there. He's a psychiatrist, and I asked him about the medication he was taking, and he started telling the side effects, which I was just, I didn't get any of the brochures or anything on the side effects of this medication. He was saying that, he started saying the same things Aaron was doing, and I was like, oh, wow.
Did he see Aaron, or were y'all just talking about
We
it?
were just talking about
So
it.
it was enough of a similarity that he could immediately identify what the problem was.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was, you say, was it Children's Hospital Birmingham? Is that where he was started on it? Okay.
That was the first hospital he was at, and the second and third time he was in the hospital was in Gadsden.
Okay. How close together were the hospitalizations? Did they continue with Risperdal or try other things at that point?
I think he had 3 visits in 2.5, 3 years.
Okay. Now, he, even to this day, has some drooling, nervous hand movements, and such as that. At what, did it continue for a long time before you started seeing improvement, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
After he was taken off the medication.
And how long did it persist even after he was taken off the medication?
Yeah, just not as severe.
Okay. Close that, please. The light will mess it up. Sorry. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But he continued to have issues that just plagued him, and
Kind of lingered on.
Well, did it over time get better, or did it all of a sudden get better? Or?
No, it didn't all of a sudden get better.
Okay, and then as I say, I still see issues, but
Yeah.
particularly when he's really tired or stressed. And can we briefly just talk about the suicide attempt issues that he was just to that point on some of these medicines, and Risperdal particularly seemed to be a kicker for that as well. Is that true?
He, I think, was ridiculed so much, and his behaviors were not normal, so he was picked out,
Yes, ma'am.
picked on.
Yes.
He was right at 10 when he had his first suicide attempt.
Yes.
And,
So that was real close, yeah.
I sent him down to Gadsden, and that was the second time he went. And then the third time he went to the hospital, he had another suicide attempt. He was around 11. He tried hanging himself.
Yeah.
2 different times.
Trying to think, is there anything else that we should, discuss at this point? I'm sure the attorney can tell us if they need anything else, evidence or any timeline that you can lay out for him. Let me just talk about real quickly how this has affected Aaron as a young adult, possibly. I know he could never keep jobs. He always had issues with interaction. He had PTSD, actually is diagnosed.
Yeah.
Panic attacks. Just how much of that do you think was from the bullying he was receiving during the school days when he was just, laying in a bed sleeping and drooling?
Well, it was rough on him. I went down to pick up one of the kids from Head Start one time, and he was a teenager, a young teenager. But he come running to me crying because the kids were picking on him, which is embarrassing for a kid that age.
Sure. Also, he did go to Three Springs at one point because of behaviors, and he was on medicine until he went there, and he was in a wildlife nature type thing, I understand, too, and he was basically detoxed from everything. Is that when Aaron really kind of took a corner and started doing better, you think? I mean,
I
to
do.
the level we see now.
I do. He didn't like it, and I didn't agree with everything at that facility.
Yes, ma'am.
But after they took him off most of his medicines, he started to get taller and get strong, and I do think it helped him.
I do too. I mean, I think he's absolutely much from sitting in a corner drooling and not communicating and not understanding. But he still has a lot of issues. So I was just trying to figure out when they took him off of it and how it started improving, if you will. As far as his jobs, though, was he, even as an adult, let go of jobs because of stress and just couldn't interact? Okay, I think he shared that with me.
He's smart, but he just had a problem
communicating and neurologically. Okay. Well, I am going to stop it today. I think we've covered a lot. Is there anything that you think you should add? Is there anything on your mind? I want you just to tell me if there is, certainly.
I know that Aaron, as an adult, is so anti-medication from what he went through.
Yeah.
And knowing what he went through as a kid, that he just is. He won't. He's so anti-medication.
Yeah, he won't take an aspirin hardly.
Yeah.
But he, I think when you are forced to gain weight like that
Oh,
and be
I know.
made fun of, and then you're sick a lot from meds, and then again made fun of, and then on top of it the surgery being
Yeah.
necessary at his age, that had to be very difficult. So,
Yeah.
you know, the formative years, and that's the frustrating thing, because as much as he may want to do a lot more now, he's so limited because of the exposure and experience.
All those years.
All those years. And I think we see it in relationships that were failed. We see it in stressful situations in family. We see it in job situations. It's just, he's grown a lot, but you just see where he has struggled to get to where he's at.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's why. But,
Oh, yeah.
All righty. I will cut it off.